Do you have a marketer? So you don't have a
No.
marketer. No marketer. Okay. So marketing is the key, even if it's word of mouth, for everything. Okay. It's going to be your key. And I'm giving you this information because I believe in you. And like I said, I was excited to meet you. And I just think what you're doing is freaking fabulous. Some of my questions earlier was just playing devil's advocate, right? Making sure that you're on point and, really looking at other factors. One of the things that I will say is that I'm very familiar with science, research, and all of this stuff. What's important is how you message and how you get that across. So like, for example, the graph that you showed, and I hope that you will send me the pitch deck on email. But the graph that you showed where it was younger, older. So you're dealing with a population of people that don't understand what you have done scientifically. So when you speak, so let's say you had a venture capitalist thing, you had demo day. When you speak, that message has to translate to the basic person. Okay? And I don't know if you realize, but investors, even if they're venture capitalists and they represent a firm, they're very basic. How they think is very basic. So you want to make sure your message, it translates into that, right? So even though I understand the scientific makeup of what you're doing, when I talked about demographics, when I talked about culture, when I talked about the age, right, younger and elderly, someone can take that and misinterpret it as, okay, so you're talking about young people like us, or you're talking about older people like them. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be able to translate your research into basic terminology. This pitch deck is a research paper to me, filled with images. And that's kind of what you need to change if you want to get funding, period. That's why I'm a strategist, right? Because if you want to get the funding, you've got to change this, because they're going to be like, what, and huh? They're going to be like, their minds are going to be all messed up, no matter who you're talking to. So whether we talk again or not, I really want you to work on that. Getting basic language, right? And I really want you to work on having some numbers. And these numbers are going to be projections. So in 3 to 6 months, it needs to say equal $200,000. And then, maybe for what? And then in 1.5 years, we're going to need $1 million. Okay? And then in 2 to 3 years equals revenue at $1 million, but we need $2 million to continue what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm telling you this because it's simple information, but I've been doing it for 15 years, working directly with investors, startups, and even businesses. And so it doesn't hurt me any to give this information to you. But if you expect someone like myself to kind of guide and give information like this, don't expect it. Does that make sense? Don't expect it. So, but be willing to extract the information that you need in order to move forward. Okay? The other thing I'm going to say is when someone's asking you a question, again, you've got to almost dummy it down. And I know that sounds horrible, but you've got to dummy it down to the fact that it's almost like yes or no. Because even in your responses, it's very scientific, and that's great, but people aren't going to understand. I understand it because I work on stuff like this all the time. I go to conferences. You know what I mean? The information I have is I'm a walking Wikipedia. So that's why you're able to have even just a decent conversation with myself. And I'm not saying that other people, investors, or, other folks who kind of are in my industry aren't able to, have that conversation with you. I'm just saying for your benefit and what you're trying to do, which is the awareness about what's going on with the anti-aging creams. They're not anti-aging products. They don't have the certain chemicals needed to, to really promote anti-aging. They really don't. I saw you mentioned vitamin C, all this stuff. They don't have it. And so that's where your patent's going to come in and really solidify. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a conflict when you use the the CRSP, because I know, is that patented, the CRSP? Is that
Yes,
patented?
that's patented, but
Okay.
we're not directly using CRISPR as
Okay.
as a therapy.
Good. So there won't be a conflict because you're not directly using it. But the patent is really going to help you, and you know that you can include that in your budget. So what I need to see is a budget, and that's what's not here, and I'm not saying that you don't have it. But you always want to have financials, even if they're projections. Okay? Because a lot of startups will say, well, I don't have financials. No. They want to see something. They want to know that you know the numbers. Okay? They want to see, like you said, the science, but they also want to see it in layman's terms. Okay? Like I gave the example, right? Demographics, age, there could be other factors, you know. What about people who have, diseases or chronic illnesses? Like you brought up the CRSP. So what if they have cancer? Will this product help them? Will it bypass, right, those cells that are disease infected? So stuff like that. So your intelligence is astounding, first of all. Okay, I'm right there with you. But we just want to make sure that when you are talking to people and the message, right, is for that basic person. Does that make sense?
Understand.